Hey, welcome everybody. We decided to do a public bonus art episode this week to celebrate a successful trip to Raleigh. For me, I'm at Lakeside Retreats right now. There's a stage behind me with all the lights and fun things getting set up. That's just one of the stages, the lake stage. I made a video on Instagram, on the Shane Mauss Instagram, that showed the main area with an enormous field and stuff where there's camping. There's multiple fields, but we won't need them. It's enormous. It's way more spacious than I thought. So I want this to be a bigger thing than originally planned. I couldn't really tell from the website how spacious all of this was, but not only will that stage, like a nice, 200 to 300 person crowd, will feel really nice and comfortable and intimate and have good energy, but then there are all of these little side areas, like anywhere that you see a yurt over there. People ask about bathrooms all the time. There's outdoor showers over there. Gonna take good care of the porta potty situations. Most events clean their porta potties once a day. Do you know how much it is to clean them twice a day instead? Not a whole lot is one of the things that I found out. Lots of things are more expensive than you think. The one frustrating thing that's less expensive is having porta potties cleaned another time. I'd be charging so much for that. But since it's cheap, we're splurging. I can't believe that people don't do a better job of that. But you go around, so over there, what you can't see, there's a sauna. We're talking about having like some ice baths and stuff, and maybe some massage tables, yoga classes over there. This is like area that didn't even get utilized at a 500 person event that I was just at. So that will be the woo area. And then trying to put together like a science fair over here. I don't want to spoil too much because I'm still I don't want to overpromise anything, and we don't know what the attendance is going to be. This is the hope. This is what we want to do. This is the dream. It's happening no matter what, but the amount of activities that we're going to have is going to be dependent on the amount of attendees and demand for them. But we're on Discord. You'll notice there's a shenanigan fund. If you go and buy tickets, go to mindunderpod.com. You'll notice there's a shenanigan fund that 100% of it goes to artists for donations for weird various projects. And one in the science area, there's a hidden, I've been posting videos on Discord. If you're on Discord, you'd be able to see all of the videos of this property that I've been taking. It's acres upon acres upon acres, and just finding the right spots to do things. But there's a hidden area cut out in a circle in the trees that we're thinking about putting a destination art outhouse with a bat signal, but a poop signal instead that shoots up when it's occupied at night. That's just some of the fun that we're talking about today. There's a dam over there. It's called a dam, but it wouldn't look like small. It wouldn't look like most dams that you've seen. Thinking about maybe having an acoustic stand-up stage, because I know a bunch of comics in the area. The Best Damn Comedy Show. And again, all of this is contingent on people showing up. If there's like 200 people that show up, we're going to have a chill hangout time, do a bunch of live podcasts, and have music and stuff like that. But if we get like double that, then we get to open up the space for things like over there. There is a whole shaded area where normally there's like, if you've ever been to a campground, there's 6 very open camping spots over there that are very spacious beyond just the spots. And we'd have like, beanbag toss, grilling, all sorts of fun kind of camping activities like that. And then up the road from the art stage, where I'm pointing right now if you're watching on YouTube or Spotify or whatever. Otherwise, you're just listening. You go up and there's Artist Row, which I took some videos over. There'll be a bunch of booths set up with artists from the community because of Ramin's popularity as an artist. He has a lot of artist followers, and I have a fair amount of artist followers and have connected with a bunch of artists and things. And then all the way up there, which I can't show you because it's across the lake, is after a long stretch of Artist Row is a huge field that is a blank canvas for us to create whatever we want, and it's huge. It's going to be where the camping is and everything. We can put people in different neighborhoods, maybe separate people by like musical tastes or whatever, so each little camping neighborhood can have their own jams. Already working with various musical artists and stuff like that. But again, it's contingent on how many people show up, and you can't just wait till last minute either. If you wait till last minute, just like RSVPing for a wedding, like, sorry, we couldn't tell catering that we needed more chicken or whatever, so you don't get a meal, kind of a situation. So the sooner that you get tickets, the better, and also the price is going to go up as well. It's $222 right now for the first two easy, $222 that are also going to get a special sort of token that I've been working on that you'll have for life. That will be a symbol that you can show us anytime and get a bit of recognition. Certainly buys you a hug from me. Who knows? Maybe I even hook you up with extra good seats, or maybe even comps, depending on the city that I'm performing in or whatever in the future. And it will be a way of showing proof of that. And so there's that. There's this lake where there's going to be stand-up paddle boards that go in right over there. There's a company that will bring stand-up paddle boards, show you how to do it. Everything else included in the ticket price. Tickets will go up starting June 2nd. Or when we've sold 222 tickets, that's when tickets start going up. So this is a bit of an early bird sale, and it's also just to reward people that are helping us contribute to planning. Because, again, if I'm trying to rent some big tent to pull off some grand thing, if I have time, I can spend a bunch of time figuring out deals and bartering and all of that sort of thing. If a bunch of people show up last minute and want to get in, and I'm scrambling to try to figure out more food trucks or whatever, all of that stuff gets more last minute when there's not time, and you don't have time to schedule things that are booked far ahead. So all of that stuff goes up. So the ticket price goes up as well. So if you want to be a part of the community and of the Too Easy 222, go to mindunderpod.com. And this art episode is fantastic. So enjoy.
Welcome, gang. Happy day to you, you big piece of ass. You're a great ass monger, and we're here to help you.
Did you must have spent days writing that intro.
Months.
Can we
crumpled paper all over the floor?
I want to dissect that intro a little bit. It was Happy Day. Is that like an Easter reference? I think you started with Happy Day, and then I laughed a little bit, and then that was a cue for what? Then what happened? Was there something about people's asses?
something about being a gang and having a big ass and being an ass monger and then needing us to guide you onto the right path, which is the path you're already on. But you got to stay on that path, because if you're going to be an ass monger, you don't want to just, stop off in a layover in that land. You want to move there. You want to start a family. You want to get a job and mate with the locals and become part of the culture. That's what being an ass monger is all about. And today we're going to revisit every single voice I've ever attempted, which is what sapiens like us like to do. Because if you're a sapien, you have to try everything.
I mean, if you think about it, early on in evolution, there would have been, I'm sure the Neanderthals were also mongering ass. They were trading, ass and bartering ass.
Is that what mongering is? I don't know what mongering is, to be honest. I just use it. I use it superfluously, which I do know what superfluously means, but mongering, I don't know if it's about conquering or liking or owning lots of, regardless of whether you like it or not.
Monger is the word of the day here on Mind Under Art.
Under Mong.
It is denoting a dealer or trader in a specific commodity, like fishmonger, or
it's a trader. Okay.
A person who promotes a specified activity, situation, or feeling, especially one that is undesirable or discreditable. Like warmonger.
Yes.
And so, yeah, I think early on in evolutionary history, there would have been like within various primates, just generally, there would have been a fair amount of ass mongering. But I think what probably set humans apart, which Yuval could probably tell you, was the ability for like various regions to like coordinate mongering ass on like larger levels of ass mongering.
And telling stories about your ass. This is what people tune in for. This is why they don't cancel the $5 a month, or it's the reason they will this episode. So you got to keep it down a little bit. Their fingers hovering right over the cancel button. Luckily, Patreon's interface is garbage, so it's tough to cancel stuff.
Part of probably the biggest driving force of the cognitive revolution and what really put humans on the map was the ability for us to language stories about our ass. To tell stories about. That is a lot of sexual selection stuff. That it is.
Yeah. And I like that humans were put on the map, and we also invented the map. So of course we're put on the map.
Yeah. First thing
we're
we put on
#1, even though there's way more ants.
I know I've mentioned it on the show, but it just cracks me up every time that humans, like when you look through the taxonomy of primates and everything, it's like humans are great apes. like we fought tooth and nail. It was a major blind spot for a long time in evolutionary, even like the Valentine's Day episodes with Wallace and Darwin, like bickering over Wallace still believed that humans were a different thing altogether.
Yeah.
And that was so like finally, reluctantly, when science admitted that yes, we are also primates, we're like, but we're great ones. You have to admit we're great.
The great, good, perfect apes. I guess gorillas can be there too. Fine, we like you. Come in. But those little like helper monkey things, you just get to be little monkeys.
Helper monkeys.
Yeah, that's what their actual name is. Their genus is Moncus helperonus. Go get me that basket of fruit and don't rip my eyes and genitals out when you come back.
Oh my God. Can you believe other shows are talking about like what a celebrity wore on the red carpet?
Yeah, can you believe other shows make millions of dollars? There's so much money to be doing the opposite of what we're doing.
Everything we're doing the opposite of anything lucrative.
We should do an episode of all like celebrity pop culture stuff and psychedelics, and it's going to be our biggest episode yet. Yeah. And the thumbnail will have Jay-Z licking Kanye's ass. That's too predictable.
All of the just go to all the top clickbaits of the year. Clickbait in review. We should do a clickbait review every
once.
year. Just once. Yeah, just once sounds about right to me. All right. Well, we have per the usual. We never just jump right into things, and sometimes you just get gifted with awesome impressions and fun monkey jokes. Emily, Petrucci? Yeah, Petrucci.
Oh yeah. She's written to the show before, right?
Yeah. Well, it's season 2, so
so you get reset. Okay,
reset, clean slate. So now in season 2, once you get an art episode for season 2, you still have a chance of getting a second one, but everyone who hasn't gotten one will be prioritized probably over you. But clean slate, you get a new one. Super excited. And this is kind of relevant to moving into, we just started recording with this new studio, got an upgrade where it's springtime. We're reinventing ourselves. And this piece is the piece from February 1st of this year. Real fun one. Lovely colors. Transformation is more interesting than always being perfect.
I agree. That's why I made it.
Is this a shirt, by the way?
Should be.
It should be. The colors are terrific.
It is a shirt.
You should make it a shirt.
And buy it now. Do it.
Yeah. I would wear that.
Buy one of everything. All of it.
Yeah.
If you buy one of everything, I'll give you a free sticker.
Whoa.
And it's going to be a one of a kind. I should do that. One of a kind sticker. It's like 8 inches by 8 inches. It's got holograms. Mm-hmm. It's got little, dancing U-Vols on it. And it's only one. There's only one of it in the whole world. And you can only get it if you buy every single item.
That is something I want to develop in season 2 is what is exclusive. Like the lunatic, our 2 lunatics get a custom straight jacket, each slightly different too, and their own. And so you can only get that if you're a lunatic, but kind of want something like that for other things, like someone that's been a honey bear for a year. Something I love because as we move gently into cult formation, I like a real ranking kind of system, where everyone knows each other's place and who's better than who.
We need to number everyone individually.
Yeah. But with cute merch.
And we won't give ourselves number 1 either. We're in the top 10, but we'll give other people 1.
Yeah. You run this shit. The number 1 person is just the person that gives us all the money and also does everything. Yes. They're number 1. And also they're a silent partner, but runs everything. A silent runner of things. Just got a new iPhone, Ramin. Just reset it yesterday. Hoping that's going to help. Forgot to turn the ringer off. You know what I did? It's Too Easy Tuesday at the time that I'm recording this. I've been doing on my Too Easy Tuesday.
What you been doing?
Had some problems transferring contacts from Android to iPhone. Some listener is going to hear this and be like, Shane, you're insane. I can't believe this. That this is what you came up with for a solution. Tried a bunch of different things, got transfer apps. Everything else would happen. fine. Not really, actually. It wouldn't transfer my messages, but my contacts, especially, there'd be like 5 to 15 of everybody. Like 15 Ramins in my contacts.
Nice. I could use 14 of those.
and then like some of them would just be email only. It wasn't all like clumped together in one card. It was all. And so I just decided, you know what? Fresh start with contacts. I still have my old phone. I'm going manually. I'm entering each one by one. I know. The look on your face.
I would just say who dis for the next 3 years. And anyone who doesn't write me, I don't need to who dis them, but everyone else, mom, dad, brother, who dis.
I was like, I'm just going to start with the A's. I'm going to see what an incredible pain in the ass this is and then think of something else. But in doing so, I realized that I only need 1 out of 10 of my contacts anymore because I've had the phone for 15 plus years, and I've been on the road and like different bar managers and stuff like that after shows and stuff that I don't need. And
Kenneth doesn't even work there anymore.
Yeah, and I was having like a lot of fun memories coming back. People like old comic friends and stuff. I'm like, oh, I should follow them on Instagram and see what they're up to. And I'm like doing even though it is like an epic kind of waste of time in some ways, I'm going to be happy when it's finished. I'm going to have a newly sorted contact list, and I'm having like, I'm coming up with ideas and reconnecting with people and stuff like that along the way. It's kind of a fun one. That
does sound fun. I would never do that, but we're wired differently. Mm-hmm. But I wasn't kidding about the who dis. It's just too much contactiness.
Yeah. That's kind of why I did it, because I'm like, it's such a too easy Tuesday, because normal Shane would never do it. And when it's done, I'll be happy that I did it. But it's the normal,
and it's something you can do
while
while listening to stuff. It's a pretty mindless grunt task, which those are pretty fun to give yourselves. Like when you have to fold laundry or take out trash or something, it's like, yeah, I get to listen to stuff while I do it, and
so
I don't get distracted.
I've been watching some documentaries while I to get ready for some upcoming episodes, Easter and Bicycle Day episode, and some other things that we have coming up. And also a new show on HBO, The Tourist, which I'm enjoying. A pretty decent show.
I think you mentioned that already. I haven't checked it out yet.
Guy with amnesia. It's pretty good. Oh. And it's set in Australia too. Easy.
Nice.
And in case you're like,
who am I?
Who am I? No worries. In case you're like, Shane and Ramin are making up 2 easies and no worries. And Australians don't actually say that much. Watch The Tourist on HBO and you'll be like, oh, that is exactly how they talk. Everything Shane and Ramin have been saying for a year is exactly right.
I was hoping that wasn't true. I mean, I was hoping that we weren't making it up, but that's even better. Yeah. I just assume, like, if I hear a stereotype, I'm on board. I integrate it into my, like, a little database permanently.
What a perfect way to live. Can't ever steer you wrong.
Chinese people love Twizzlers. Hell yeah. I know what I'm bringing to China as gifts. They're probably neutral. Don't love them or don't hate them. All 1 billion Chinese.
You just show up to China with a suitcase of donuts.
Yeah, they're suspicious at the border, but then they just pop it open for 1 second and immediately close it and be like, oh, right, it's typical gift. Typical foreigner bringing gift that we love.
Always.
I'm fascinated by I haven't been to any Asian country before, but
me too. I'm so fascinated.
I'm surprised you haven't. I think I already knew that, and I erased that because I just see you as having been everywhere but Antarctica.
Every time I go to Australia, I'm like, oh, too easy. I gotta jump over. And
it's just a taxi ride away.
I've thought about learning Mandarin and stuff like that. And I've had big dreams going on, because there's actually, you might not know this, listeners certainly wouldn't. There is a booming comedy scene in China right now for like expats and stuff. Like you can go and perform. We might do a Mind Under Matter tour in China one day. Yeah.
I'd love to perform for an all Chinese audience and just confuse both of us.
Yeah.
I wonder which is bigger. Like, do you think, is there a bigger expat comedy scene or a bigger native Chinese people scene?
But in terms of what's relevant to like us, what we could actually get booked to do in a tour lineup and everything, it was like at least 10 years ago, they were moving into like the 80s of comedy, where it was just like, what is this stand-up comedy stuff? And just loving it. And it was popping off everywhere.
Like Andy Kindler said, you just have to say, how you doing? And you get $200,000 a year.
Yeah. So yeah, I hope we get to tour a bunch with, of course we'll go down under, but, I hope we have a decent number of listeners in Europe as well. I think we're going to get to travel our little mums off. Speaking of being ass mongers, we're going to go trading ass all over this world. All right. So Emily writes, I swear this. So, by the way, we know from this that I'm not the best out loud reader that the world's ever seen. And
I'd rank you like second to last or last.
Why is this my job? Do you want to read it?
Because it's funner that way. I'll maybe do the next one, but now we've set it up and people tuning in for the first time have to read.
Second to last. Or last
in the world.
Wow. I'm glad that I'm still able to embrace my fear. And if you told someone they were the second to worst singer that would be harder for them to get on and do karaoke. But for me, I'm like, well, I guess I just need to get better. This is just a good opportunity for improvement.
Too easy.
All right, Emily. I swear this has been my mantra lately as I prepare my medical school applications and reflect on my journey so far, in parentheses, the challenges, the growth, the flaws in the application. I have to reassure myself that the struggle and disorientation that happens during growth is okay and should be welcomed. I do think it's far better to have the dynamic ups and downs than completely fixed neutral. Keep going.
I wanted to also say that I have to constantly remind myself that we have listeners that do stuff like this and are going to med school, and it surprises me. I'm like, oh no, we shouldn't be in the ears of people actually doing stuff.
Well, speaking of which, the reason why you recognize Emily Petrucci's name so readily is because she often researches things that we say on Mom and then clarifies stuff for us in the YouTube comments. If we're like, what is it, a kidney thing? And we don't know, and I don't want to look she'll take the time and look it all up, like medical questions and stuff.
And Dr. Petrucci.
Yes,
I hope we're saying it right, because I'm just, like I said in the previous episode, I'm just basing it off of John Petrucci, the prog rock guitar player.
Yeah.
But sometimes last names are pronounced differently. But
you
just let us know.
I trust you more than me. I'm the worst namey person that there is. Can't even name or name myself. But so she goes on to say, but I'm simultaneously such an achiever type. I have this ongoing conversation with myself about how I could have done so and so differently to have better stats or research publications or more clinical experience. I don't get down in the dumps about it, though. It's more that I fixate on optimization and efficiency, which tends to make me a little too self-critical. Goes on, but I want to stop there for a moment, because that's a thing that is a less. So obviously being hard on ourselves and like there's the depression and the learned helplessness and stuff that becomes chronic and delusional and everything else. But sometimes you have a feeling or a bit of embarrassment or self-doubt or whatever, and you can listen to that and there's stuff in there. There's like, ooh, that's a problem that I can actually, that's an opportunity to tweak something.
Yeah, it's the dwelling that's the problem. Like if you get the note, that's good, but then if it's the nagging, which is what we hate, and some people's parents do it a lot, or it happens in marriages or something, and you're fine with just the one thing, but then if it's a constant like, no, you already told me, I wrote it down, it's on my list, let me go. And then your brain is still telling you like, no, you're bad, you should have done better, and you could have been the best doctor in the world by now. There's people that have been full doctors by 18. You had it in you, but instead you watched TV. Instead you went out with your friends. You could have cured 8 different types of melanomonic cancer phobia by now.
I mean, just right now, Ramin made up a new thing that was previously
melanomonic cancerophobia. It's being afraid of highly melon cancers, melons with cancer.
Yeah. It's a
and you're
serious,
being afraid of them.
Yeah, it's a very serious thing, and and that's without even not a day of medical school. And Ramin was able to spot that. Diagnose it, construct a name, and we'll leave it up to everyone else.
I don't even think I've taken a biology related thing since high school. Like in college, it was all engineering or communications or a computer thing, but I can't remember a single bioanatomy related thing in college. So I'm like, is it still called a spleen? I don't even know.
I love a good class. It actually hasn't. I haven't been watching that many classes lately. Actually, all since Mom started, I've been a little lower in the old class load.
I'm reducing the education of the world.
Yeah. But man, there's a lot of good ones out there. I'm trying to do a bookkeeping one, which is a real too easy course, because I'm like, oh, this isn't like a biology course. I'm like, whoa, that's how that works. Bookkeeping, I'm like, yeah, that's how that works. And now I'm going to have to do that thing. It's just like,
it makes you look forward to death in a weird way. Like sometimes when you get overwhelmed with everything, taxes and money and this and that, and it's like, well, and good thing I drop all of this at some point. Mm-hmm. Like even my bones, like I don't even have to worry about whether there's marrow in my bones at some point. Right now, if the marrow in my bones left my body, that'd be a problem. But 70 years from now, it's like, yeah, do what you want with my bones.
Yeah. But
don't need them. Don't need my hair. Don't need my bones.
Yeah, that is a load off when you're just sitting there on a given day, just fretting about your marrow, like so many of us do. Just getting a real marrow spiral. It's nice to remind yourself that one day you're going to be dead.
Not in a morbid way, but in a happy, fun way. Because I'm imagining like a blue vapor leaving the bones and like going off and doing whatever I want. Because, that makes sense. Yeah. I retain all my memories, all my cognition, everything that the brain, like we know does, I get to retain it, but without the weight of the physical. I just trust me. I get it. Maybe I'm purple. Maybe I'm not blue vapor. I'm blue or purple, some bluish purpley.
Yeah, you might not be nailing the color, but you're a colored vapor for sure.
Yeah. I like rise out of my body. I'm like, oh, green. I didn't guess I'd be a green vapory ghost with full cognitive ability and full memory.
With the green, wow. You stinker. I didn't see green coming.
Yeah, exactly. So afterlife is exactly what you're experiencing now, except you're green vapor and you can fly. Makes sense.
All of your perceptions.
Deep down, I know it's true.
Exactly.
Yeah, even when I'm hungry, I like lose half of my perception and like mental capacity. But when I've got nothing, I'm at full capacity. It is so like it's so easy to think that after life is a certain way, and then like if you're suffering a little bit in your body, it's like, oh damn, this is me in my body, like with a little bit going wrong. What's it gonna be like with no body? Or like Maria Bamford will describe like just being able to do nothing but being in awareness, but you can't even form a thought or a word, just like just the lowest of low capacity. And oh boy, what is this? What is a life form? What am I? We'll find out.
We'll find
in the
out.
comments.
How many seasons do you think before we spoil it for everybody, before we get to the conclusion?
Six seasons.
That's the sixth season.
By then,
reveal.
Emily will be the best doctor in the world.
Oh, that is crazy. She's gonna grow with us together. Yeah, that's so interesting.
We're gonna get to say we knew Dr. Petrucci. She used to write into our show.
Yeah, it's
like, no, you don't.
It's funny to think
her.
about like here we are, because I know for a fact there's people that have like listened to Here We Are like really early on in college. Were inspired to like change their degree. So I've like inspired people to pursue research, and then they learn way more about it than I do and get to find out how full of shit I was. That whole the person that inspired them to do the thing knew nothing about it whatsoever, but it sounded good at the time.
Yeah. Like the kid on your street that plays guitar or piano or something.
Yeah.
And then later it's like, oh, he's probably like Eddie Van Halen by now. And then you realize, no, he just knew a bar chord, and that blew your mind at the time.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's keep on going. Emily goes on to write, enter Ramin's piece, the void, the simplicity, the transformation, another deep truth concisely said by Ramin. She says, I resonate with this piece a lot. I use this message to combat my self-criticism. I remind myself that no story would be worth reading or movie would be worth watching if there was no transformation of the main character, if there was no struggle, if they were always perfect. Static and unchanging isn't interesting. The safe, easy path at least of least resistant doesn't seem to align with your highest timeline or reap the best rewards. Setbacks and failures are usually prerequisites for mastery and success, so it makes way more sense to value transformation over constant perfection. Yet, if infinite perfection is neither realistic nor interesting, why is it so easy to crave? I'm laughing because now I can only think of myself as the second worst reader on the planet, and I'm not. There's not even a spice. There's not even a pinch of me that's insecure about it. It's more just like, that's hilarious. If I'm the second worst reader that there is, and I do all of the reading,
every word of it.
I think that's a part of, because we got asked in the episode about aging, in the season 2 episode about aging too. I've been thinking about this, hanging out with all these. I hang out with so many older people at pickleball, ranging from like, usually I'm the youngest one there. There's maybe a couple people at my age, sometimes someone a little younger than me, to up to like in the 70s. And
nice.
It's like, oh, because I'll notice someone just like says like a faux pas or like an awkward thing or whatever. And it's just
Give me one. What's a faux pas?
Yeah, you know, like someone just tries to make a pickleball joke and then like falls flat or whatever and like doesn't get it. Like, I'm sure they're aware that it didn't crush like they were hoping it would in their head. And just, you see, it just like doesn't, it's just, you can just tell like, oh, this person has just had so many embarrassing moments and failure in their life that they're just so experienced with like, oh yeah, it doesn't matter. You just say an awkward thing once in a while.
Like a comic that can, that trick of not caving in on yourself if a punchline doesn't work. You can kind of over the years act as though, no, that wasn't even the punchline. I'm just talking. The punchline's coming. But if you say a punchline and it bombs and you don't do the Brody Stevens thing where you address it and double down, if you just, cave in on yourself, it's no good. So they've learned that skill.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, last paragraph. Curious how this sentiment relates to your guys' lives and inner narratives. Where does
in every way?
Yeah. Where does perfectionism pop up? Should we do these one at a time, or should I keep on going?
Let's start there. Where does perfectionism come up? It's tough to narrow it down if it's hanging out in one room or if it's checked into every room in the hotel. Like it's beating self up for not, keeping in touch with everyone. The phone, I haven't been good at the phone. I haven't been good at post. You got to post every day. It's content is king. You got to stay up to date with all the content, or you do post the content and it wasn't good. My last episode, it wasn't good. I wasn't quick enough. I was boring. I stuck. On and on and on. That drawing is too similar to a drawing I did 2 years ago. What am I doing? Am I just a repetition of myself? I haven't grown. Why am I doing drawings at all? The drawings aren't worth that much as society. I should be making that pipe that I talked about 6 episodes ago.
Yeah.
And on and on and on.
Even when I crush it, that just makes me go, well, if I would have just been crushing it like this the whole time, everything would be fine and I wouldn't be in this mess that I'm in because of my stupid past self that wasn't crushing it like I'm perfectly capable of, and I'm probably just going to keep on failing again. This is just a little window of efficiency and enthusiasm and productivity that's not going to last very long. Then I'm going to go back to my stupid, boring waste of a self.
Me too.
Yeah.
I think also money is probably the main one for me now that I'm thinking about it. I can make it and then I let it run out and then I freak out and then I find a way to make it again and then I relax and then I run out again, and then the narrative is always like, you idiot, you're supposed to always be making more and saving more. That's how you become a successful 50s American. But I'm not a 50s American. I'm a present day, currently 2022 stupid.
Yeah.
Who has American citizenship too, and Canadian. Both.
I always, that was the other thing too when I was younger, because I was just, basically I was living with money. I was always just living it up. I mean, not that I didn't have like depression issues and stuff like that, but I was always,
what happened?
There we go. Just changing a slight thing as we're adjusting to the new studio. I just thought
I was worried it was my camera, and I was like, how dare you? My camera has not glitched once.
But it's funny that as soon as you said that, you legitimately did freeze on the camera. But you're
not
good.
For me though.
That's good. And yeah, then it's tough because I was like, oh yeah, traveling, and I'd just like I'd go to the nicest I would go during lunch. I was pretty good at traveling, especially when I dated April for a while, because she traveled more than me and like understood all the frequent flyer everything and how to get all these free different things. And so, yeah, I'd always like for lunch, you can go to the best restaurant in town and get the best meal without having to spend that much. And then I would get dinner or whatever for free from the comedy club or whatever. So, and I'd find it in the best part of town to walk around a little bit and see what the like city center's like or whatever, or the hip neighborhood. And I'd do research and things. And I was just like, I lived like my parents, if my parents retired and tried to just, you gave them an extra $1 million to try to whip it up for the rest of their life, there's no way they would have all of the experience that I had like while I was working. But now I look back, I'm like, oh my God, all that money that I spent on the fucking thing. Oh shit, what? And then I didn't really think about money in the same way. And now I'm like, oh, money is important. when you're young, you're like, it's fine, and money's garbage anyhow.
Yeah, and then we're gonna be like that with health later. Not that we're not healthy now, but like super healthy.
Yeah.
I gotta watch my cholesterol and stuff. I can only have half a banana today. Can't have a whole banana.
Is it the banana problem?
Yeah, probably. Who knows? Who knows what nutrition is in 10 years?
So Emily writes, do you have anything in particular you think about when you combat your own self-criticism, perfectionism, or anxiety? Can you ever stop striving for perfection when there's so much value to being perfect or improving? Also, is it possible to disentangle transformation and perfectionism from each other? It's easy to embrace transformation when it's imagined as growth and improvement, but it's much harder to embrace transformation if it's crippling and stressful or simply just change. And obviously transformations where you level up, and it should be warmly welcomed, not rejected, but they definitely make other types of transformations feel like ass in comparison. I think we're rubbing off on Emily a little bit.
How did we do that? How did we start the episode with ass mongers and it finished with the ass
mongering? That's amazing.
Yeah. I knew science wasn't real. I knew it was all magic synchronicity. I knew it. I wasn't sure. I put some chips in the science, but now I know for sure it's all magic.
Got nothing to do with a person who's so into the show supports us on Patreon, having heard how much we talk about our ass and eating
has
ass.
Nothing to do with it.
Eating our own butts.
Yeah.
Even though perfection is a scam, we are still motivated towards it. I have nothing to plug, but my boyfriend, Rameez, her boyfriend's name is Rameez.
Hell yeah. Good name.
Makes music, and you all should check it out. Celestial Transport has a very dope transformation in the second half. He's Ramizu on Spotify. Ramizu.
Man, I want to be Ramizu.
You should be Ramizu.
Yeah.
On you can't be on Spotify, Instagram, or YouTube, but you could be Ramizu.
I can be the second best Ramizu in the world.
Yeah. Or you could be TikTok's Ramizu. And
oh, nice. No, I don't want to take that away from number one. Plus, I have much to learn. I mean, this would be my first day as a Ramizu. I don't know what it's like. I don't know the faux pas and the delicate intricacies of navigating the world like that.
We had a meeting with Soup. With Lakeside Retreats, where we're doing the Campout, and Soup is the guy that owns it, and we are asking him, like, give us the deal on your name, like what's it like when you go by Soup, and
people remember him as Stu.
Yeah, people remember him as Stu, and you're like, oh, that makes sense. That's one of those things you would learn within the first week of being a Soup. You'd be like, oh, people always say Stu because they can't hear Soup. They just can't imagine it possible as a name.
Yeah.
So it won't go into the memories.
And I imagined him as huge, like with the name like Soup. I thought he was like a really fat guy, but he's like taller and big, but he's by no means like
soupy. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's not like a beer cheddar soup. It's like a Mainstrom? Mainstrom? What's
that?
What's the soup? Is it Mainstrom? Mainstrom? I don't know.
Mainstream? I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know a whole lot of soups. I mean, there's crab bisque. There's tomato. I mean, we could go on and on. Oh, I wanted to say that, what was that? What was that last line that we didn't address? But can you unpair perfectionism with the transformation? I don't think you can. I think they're forever entangled. Unless you,
okay.
Like maybe some people do have that brain that just genuinely doesn't judge themselves and doesn't beat themselves up. But for the most part, I think they're so like, not like you can't get them further apart, but they're always going to be somewhat entangled. You're in transforming. You're always striving for the perfection.
I don't know. I'm always like trying different clothes. I mean, I will be like, I hate this green shirt, but I'm going to wear it anyway. I'll be like, yeah, I'll throw a beard on my face and long hair and try that and try a different thing and try. I'm always like trying out new things and sampling out. Like, I guess I'm just always like, well, what would it be like to be like a little bit different of a person just to try that on? Maybe I'm missing something. If I walked around as soup for a while.
Yeah, soup Mauss.
You know, what how does the world treat me differently? Because it is interesting to see how people look at you different. Like people are more intimidated by me on a pickleball court than matches my skill level, just because I have this big beard. That's it.
Oh, interesting.
Yep. And so there's just weird stuff like that. So for me, it doesn't, but it's interesting to hear that that's where you're coming from, since you're the one that made the piece.
Yeah. It's what I say, because I made it. It's transformation is only about going from red to green. It's the only way of looking at it. But yeah, I think the most important thing to stop it is to try to not think your way out of it and just kind of don't listen to the mental chatter and recognize that the transformation isn't going to be a straight line incline. Like it might be, but it like trends upwards, but you might have a week where it seems like you're devolving.
Mm-hmm.
But as long as you're evolving the long arc, that's okay. So go ahead and devolve for a month. Go fail all your med school exams.
Well, I think also if you're like trying to be a doctor, which is like one of the more ambitious things and everything, you know, it's kind of like us trying to be, you know, becoming a stand-up comic. All these things that are like take a ton of work and there's no guarantees and everything else, and it's really like shooting for the stars, which more and more I'm more into like, hey, I updated my contact list today. Wow, that's amazing. Like the things that make me happy more and more are the things that you would never brag to anybody. There's like no place for bragging about it. Like everyone's bragging about breaking down every barrier and going to the top and triumphing over this and that. I'm just like thrilled if I got a couple things done that I wouldn't normally do. And like you can't go out in the street and be like, I cleaned the sink today. But you should celebrate to yourself that you did.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, you're the one experiencing all this. So if it's not worth anything to you, then who cares what gold statue you have?
Yeah. So I love this piece. Think it should be a shirt. It is maybe by the time it comes out.
I think it's a unisex shirt. I need to make sure I have it in women's fashion fit too, because I've started getting those too. But
nice.
I have to make sure I have it in the right color and stuff. But Yes, expanding.
Yeah. And again, those of you on Patreon, we aren't trying to plug our merch and things to you guys,
yes,
other than if you guys actually
Yes, we are.
Yes, we are. But we're just happy you're here and support the show. We're trying to get other people who aren't on Patreon to buy a bunch of merch from us and stuff. But
yeah,
I would wear that shirt.
Money doesn't exist.
It's awesome.
Just click the stuff on the site, and then money
around
gets taken out of your account. And I bet you don't even know, like, if $100 was missing from your account, I bet you wouldn't even notice.
But
if
you
1,000
would
was
notice
missing,
if you had
notice.
3 dope new shirts. You would.
You would. And
so
is that other human you're attracted to, and you're trying to get their attention.
Yeah. Or just people that at work or on the pickleball court or whatever you do. I actually on the pickleball court the other day, I think I sold a Salivating shirt, possibly.
Nice.
Without, they don't listen to the show. They didn't know I had a podcast because I don't tell people generally. Someone was literally just like, "That's an awesome shirt. Where'd you get that?" And I was like, "It's mine. This is my merch. You can buy it." It was awesome.
Nice. They don't even know they're going to wear a urine molecule. Then they go to a urologist later and like, "Is that a urine molecule on your shirt?"
Exactly.
"Is this a prank? You don't have a urine disease, do you?"
So I'm excited about everything that we're transforming into as we move closer and closer to perfection. And I'm especially excited for the Campout coming up, which will be a transformational experience as well.
And like we've said, our final form is like whatever in the future alt-right is called. Like we have to become like a Russell Brand kind of like, what they're not telling you. Here's what they don't want you to know. And then like it's a picture of Monsanto logo and CNN logo and Coca-Cola.
His whole YouTube
and
page now is just nothing but that. It's fucking... Oh my God! It's a popular thing.
He's not alt right, but he is. Like every video is just what they're not telling you.
Yeah. Just
they're not telling you this or that.
All right.
Which they're not. I mean, I guess they're not telling you that, are they?
I think there's an endless amount of resources. That's the funniest thing with, sure, there's government secrecy, but that's the funniest thing of having a science podcast of scientists that are like, "Oh, someone will listen to what I do. Ask me a question. I'll tell you everything. I'll tell you more than you could ever want to know. Sit down. How long do I have you for?" Like, yeah. Not big secrets. Plus, have you had a secret? When's the last time you had a secret? How long were you able to keep a lid on it? I'm always spoiling special announcements and stuff that I have. Oh my God. All right. Well, you guys are awesome. And thank you, Emily, especially for not just the suggestion, but for being so active in the YouTube comments and throwing in some cool medical info and stuff like that. It's really cool to get to build a community with you guys and have such intelligent folks listening and thoughtful people. So we appreciate you, and until next time,
keep on salivating even more, honey.
Ooh,